Hello, my dear friends. I hope you're doing wonderfully. If no matter where you are in the world or when you're listening, I truly wish that everything in your life is at its very best. I'm Ali, and welcome to the 14th studio. Today, I want to talk about something very close to my heart, a question I often hear from people around me. Where do I start to change my life? We all reach moments when we feel the desire for change. Maybe we want to start a business, improve our health, strengthen our relationships, or find a new sense of purpose in our careers. And in these moments, as we begin to think about what it will take, the steps involved, that dream can suddenly feel out of reach. For example, let's say I have an idea right now. I want to start my own company. But then I stop and think, I'll need money, a place, people to support me, and a lot of expertise. Looking around, I realize I have none of these things. The resources aren't there, the plan seems too big, too distant, and my mind gets overwhelmed. So, where do we even begin? But here's the thing, and this is what I want to emphasize today. The starting point is never about having everything in place. It's about realizing that the true first step doesn't require all those external things. The key is starting where you are, with what you have, and with the ability to change the one thing you truly control, your thoughts. Before diving deeper into that, I want to share something I get asked quite often. How did you change your life? People often ask me for the story behind my journey, and they want to know what I did, how I shifted my perspective, and what specific actions led to change in my own life. While the full story would take time, I want to focus on something very important, the very first step I took. That step isn't just a story from my past, it's an action you can take today, right now. It was a step that at the time felt simple, but looking back, I now realize it was monumental. It was the beginning of everything that came after. It wasn't about resources or external conditions, and that's why I want to share it with you. My friends, let me tell you, the most powerful starting points are often the ones we already have at our disposal. They're available to us right now, just as we are, without needing to change a thing. And that's exactly what I want to talk to you about today. How to recognize and take that first step, even when the path ahead feels uncertain. Now, let me share with you the very first but crucial step that changed everything for me. I started by taking control of my thoughts. I know it might sound simple, even a little cliche, but trust me, mastering your thoughts is truly life-changing. Because when you gain control over your inner world, you unlock the power to shape your outer reality. The thoughts we entertain and allow to take root in our minds can either build us up or tear us down. And this is where everything begins. But here's the truth, it's not just about starting, it's also about continuing. To sustain the momentum, to keep evolving, and to ensure the changes we make truly last, we must keep taking this step over and over again. The first step is important, yes, but it's the continuous practice that brings lasting transformation. So, what does this look like in action? Well, it's in the small, everyday decisions we make. It's in how we choose to respond to life's challenges, how we approach the obstacles in our path, and how we decide to think in moments of uncertainty. These little moments, these choices are where the real change happens. This, my friends, is where change truly begins. It's not in grand gestures or big plans. It's not about waiting for the perfect circumstances or the perfect moment. The journey starts in the seemingly small but incredibly powerful act of managing your thoughts and choosing how you perceive the world. I want you to take a moment, just pause, and think about this. If you could control the way you think, could you change your life? The answer is a resounding yes. And this is where it all starts, in your mind. So I invite you to begin right now. Start with your thoughts, because once you gain control over them, everything else follows. For example, let's think about someone who struggles with their weight and decides to take action to reach their ideal weight. If you ask them, why did you decide to make this change? You might hear different answers. One person might say, I went to the doctor and they told me that if I didn't change, I wouldn't make it much longer. Another might say, I wanted to get married and I needed to get in shape for that. Someone else might say, I wanted a career change and losing weight was part of the plan. The reasons behind their decision may vary, but what truly matters is the action they took. It's the action that counts because it's what shapes your present and your future. For me, the action I took was controlling my thoughts, and that's exactly what I want to explore with you in this podcast. I'll dive deep into this topic, sharing plenty of examples, repetition, and references. By the end of this podcast, you'll know exactly what that first step is, controlling your thoughts. And if you choose, you can take that first step for yourself. So why is controlling your thoughts so important? What does it really mean? And what impact does it have on your life? Here's the thing. If I believe that I have control over my life, or at least to a large extent, regardless of where I was born, how I was raised, or what has happened up until now, let's set all that aside. From this point forward, do I have control over my life? The answer is yes, and if I accept this, I'll also accept that I have the power to influence my own destiny. This is where motivational speakers often say that the key to transformation is action. You must take the first step, move toward your goals. Fight, work hard, and push through to achieve your desires. They remind us that you can't sit at home, eating, sleeping, and doing nothing, expecting your dreams to come true. You can't keep engaging in self-destructive habits like smoking or doing drugs and think that one day it will all magically change. From my perspective, these are later steps, not the first ones. The first step is an active one, yes, but it doesn't have to come with suffering or hardship. No, it should come with joy. The key is that you must find joy in what you do so that you can keep doing it consistently. If the process is something you enjoy, it won't feel like a burden. To reach your desires, you must keep taking action, doing what moves you forward. But to keep going, there are two ways to approach it. Either you have no choice, someone forces you into a situation like a boot camp where you have to wake up at 6 a.m. to work out, or you find joy in what you're doing. If you're forced, it's going to be hard and you'll suffer. And even when you reach your goal, you might tell others you have to struggle, you have to work hard. Life is about effort and hardship. But if you genuinely enjoy the process of achieving your goals, you'll look back and say, I did it with persistence, but I enjoyed it when it was a pleasure every step of the way. And that's the difference, finding joy in the journey. Because when you enjoy what you're doing, you can keep going. You can continue to grow, evolve, and make progress without the weight of struggle holding you back. Life itself is all about perspective. This is so important, so listen closely. How you see the world shapes everything you experience. It influences your mood, your actions, and how you respond to life's challenges. So, let me ask you, what's your perspective? Are you someone who lives for the weekend? Do you find yourself counting down the days until Saturday and Sunday just so you can rest, escape the daily grind, and take a break from work? Do Monday mornings feel like a heavy weight you can't shake off? And why does Sunday afternoon so often feel like the end of something good? But here's the real question. Should that be the way we look at life? Should we shape our entire perspective around the anticipation of time off? Or should we aim for something more, something where we don't dread the end of the weekend? What if you could look forward to Monday? What if you couldn't wait to get back to what you love, where every moment at work felt fulfilling, meaningful, and exciting? That's the perspective we should be aiming for. Think about it. Do you think Cristiano Ronaldo or any serious football player wishes there were no matches? Of course not. They live for the game. They're not hoping for time off. And a musician doesn't resent practice. Often they find joy in it. That's why perspective is everything. So, what are we really chasing in life? Let's not lose sight of the core message here. If you want to get anywhere, you need consistency. To be consistent, you need two things. Either you have no choice and you're forced into action, or you find joy in what you're doing. This is something I always tell my students in my language classes. Only study when you're in a good mood. If you're upset, tired, or not feeling it, don't force yourself, because that negative energy will get linked to the language itself. It's okay to step away, get up, do something else, and come back when your energy is better. The key is to connect positive emotions with the process of learning. That's how you'll stick with it and grow. The same applies to work and life in general. Consistency is the key. When I took my first step, the step of controlling my thoughts, it wasn't just a one-time thing. It only led to results because I kept at it. It became a part of my life, integrated into everything I did. And that's the secret: consistency and permanence. Right now, you're not under pressure. You're not a student with exams, no deadlines or stress hanging over you. But what you should have is a genuine interest and love for what you do. That's what will fuel consistency in your life. When I first took that step of learning to control my thoughts, I understood something crucial. For this to lead to real results, it had to be consistent and permanent. That's how you build real change. Consistency and permanence are essential. I want you to really grasp this point. Anything we do in a positive direction requires consistency. Even when you look at religious practices across different traditions, they don't say, go to church once, go to church twice. They don't say, pray once, pray twice. They say, you must do these things for the rest of your life. Why? Because consistency is what brings about results. And it's also what sustains those results. Now let's dive into controlling your thoughts. Why is it so important? Earlier we raised a key question. Do I have control over my life? Can I change my destiny, or am I stuck? Most people who have reached a certain level of success will tell you, you have to work hard, you have to strive. They say this because they've been through it, they've struggled, and that's what they know. But here's the truth. I believe success doesn't have to be all about hardship. Yes, life isn't always easy, but we don't have to suffer through it to succeed. What we need is joy and consistency. The key is this: the first step isn't about taking external actions. It's not about doing something practical just yet. That's step 2 or 3. You might be able to take that action in a day, a week, or even an hour, depending on your life. But the first step is always to control your mind. If you believe you can influence your life, if you truly believe you can change your destiny, then the next question is, where does my power lie and how can I tap into it? I spent a lot of time studying, attending seminars, and reading books by some of the world's top speakers. What I learned was simple yet powerful. My beliefs influence my life. In other words, what I believe shapes my reality. My beliefs, your beliefs, are incredibly important. In the past, people didn't talk much about beliefs, or at least not in the way we do today. But now it's everywhere. Everyone talks about it because beliefs are the cornerstone of our life's direction. Whether you call them beliefs, worldviews, or paradigms, they shape how we experience life. So where do my beliefs come from? They come from my thoughts. If I want to change my beliefs, I have to change my thoughts. And to change my thoughts, I have to take control of them. That's where it all starts. Right now, none of you can tell me I can't do this. If I told you get up tomorrow and go work out, you might say I can't even get myself out of the house for a walk. If I said go find a job, you might respond with, I don't have a job, where should I go? I can't just sit in a park. Or if I said, start studying tomorrow, you might say, what should I study? I graduated 15 years ago, I dropped out 30 years ago. What can I study now? You might find an excuse like, I don't have the money for books. But here's the thing, when I tell you, you need to control your thoughts as the first step. You can't tell me I can't do that. I don't have the tools. You don't need any special tools. The only tool you need is the decision you make to take control of your mind. Because the decision you make to take control of your thoughts will give you the power and motivation to take that first step. And what is that first step? It's not about taking an outward action. It's about an inward shift. It's the step of learning to control your thoughts. Now, if I directly told you to control your thoughts, you might find it difficult to accept right away. But if we approach this idea through different aspects of life, it will make more sense. The reason I give examples is to help you understand and accept this idea. Think about it. Why do teachers prove a mathematical formula to students? It's to help them accept it, to show them that it's true. Otherwise, I could just say, control your thoughts. But some of you might accept it, while others would question why you should even do that. That's where science comes in. Science helps make it easier to understand and accept. Some people grasp the concept quickly, while others might need more time. But no matter what, I want you to know that the first step is deciding that you will control your thoughts. This is a tool that each of us has within us, the ability to change our own thoughts. Of course, when you first begin, your ability to control them will grow gradually. It's like when you first start exercising, learning a new language, or playing the piano. In the beginning, it's tough and confusing, just like when you start a new job and feel lost, unsure of what to do. But give it a month or two, and you'll start mastering it. So the key is this. You need to make the decision that the first step is to control your thoughts. Controlling your thoughts influences your beliefs, because beliefs are shaped by our thoughts. What enters our mind is processed through those thoughts and eventually becomes our beliefs. If you want to change someone's beliefs, you need to change their thoughts. And this is why a movie, for example, can change our beliefs. It works by changing the way we think. Let's pause and ask, what exactly are we thinking? Every thought that crosses your mind is shaping your life. Are you dwelling on the hurtful words of a friend, the failures from your past, the fears of what could go wrong tomorrow? Are you consumed by feelings of lack or by the mistreatment from a sibling, a partner, your boss, or a colleague? Your mind is never truly empty, so what's filling it? This one simple question changed my life, and I believe it can change yours. I'm not speaking from theory, I'm telling you what I've lived. Now, you might be thinking, but Ali, my situation is different. My brother is making life hard, my boss is unbearable, and my friend betrayed me. Or you might be saying, I'm sick, I'm drowning in financial stress. I can't even take care of my family. I'm stuck, hopeless, and desperate for a job. And let me be clear, I'm not saying those things aren't real. They are. I'm not dismissing your pain. But my question is, what are you thinking about? Are you thinking about your problems, or are you thinking about solutions? See, optimism doesn't mean pretending the world is perfect. It doesn't mean ignoring poverty, child labor, inflation, injustice, or illness. No one is denying those realities. But before I can do anything about them, I must take care of myself. I must become someone who is strong, healthy, joyful, and capable of contributing. Because if I'm broken, I'm not helping anyone. I'm just adding to the weight of the world. So again, what are you thinking about? You may have been betrayed. You may be under pressure. You may feel like everything is falling apart. I'm not denying your pain, but I choose not to focus on the pain. I focus on what I can do about it. If I'm unemployed, I ask myself, okay, this is where I'm at. What can I do to change it? Not, why is society against me? Why am I so unlucky? Why do others have connections and I don't? That kind of thinking just adds more pain. How you think matters. It really, really matters. And don't be fooled by the simplicity of this idea. You don't need complex mystical formulas to change your life. The truth isn't hidden. It's available to all of us. The universe doesn't operate on secrets reserved for the lucky few. The world belongs to all of us. Yes, there are real challenges, but why should I keep replaying my past failures? Who among us hasn't failed? Take Cristiano Ronaldo, for example, one of the greatest players in the world. And yet he missed a penalty kick against Alireza Berenvand. If it were us, we'd probably be crushed. But not Ronaldo. He kept going. That's the point. We've all been through hard times, some of us many times over. But the question is, what are we going to do with that pain? Are we going to sit in it or rise from it? If you've made the decision to feel better, to live better, then the very first step is to believe that it's possible. And I want to tell you from the bottom of my heart, it is possible. You can change your life. You can shift your mindset. You can heal. Don't let doubt take over. Doubt is just a thought. And you can learn to control your thoughts. And I know what you're going to ask next. Okay, Ali, what exactly does it mean to control my thoughts? What do I actually do? I want to control my thoughts, but I can't. Thoughts invade me. The person who betrayed me, the one who took my money, my tough social situation, unemployment, health issues, these problems attack me constantly, and I can't take it. I can't get them out of my head. But today I'll give you a formula. We'll answer this question together. What does it actually mean to control your thoughts? It means you choose to focus on what's right, okay? And you refuse to dwell on what's wrong. That's it. That's the core of it. Let me give you a basic example. If I'm always thinking about food, I can shift my focus to exercise instead. It's not about pretending food doesn't exist. It's about choosing what you want your mind to be busy with. So what should I think about and what shouldn't I? Here's the simple formula. Think about what you want, not what you don't want. Our minds are always thinking. It's automatic. Sometimes you won't even notice it. You've experienced this. Reading a book, and after a few lines, your mind drifts off. You're still reading, but your attention is gone. That's okay. It happens. But the moment you notice it, that's where your power is. Check in with yourself. Ask, am I thinking about something I actually want in my life? Or am I stuck in something I don't want? Are you thinking about your financial problems? Then ask yourself, do I want more financial problems? No? Then stop thinking about the problem and start thinking about the solution. I need a job. I need income. What can I do today? That's the right thought. Are you thinking about the person who betrayed you? Then ask yourself, do I want more betrayal in my life? No? Then don't feed it with your thoughts. Thinking about the past? Great. Choose the parts you like, not the ones that hurt you. Thinking about the future? Ask yourself, what kind of future do I want? Do I want to be miserable, sick, broke, and alone? Of course not. I want to be healthy, loved, successful, and at peace. So I think those thoughts. This is what controlling your thoughts looks like. And let me be clear, you can't empty your mind. You can't just say, I'll think about nothing. That's not how the mind works. The mind will think. So your job is to choose what it thinks about. Little by little, we retrain our minds. We replace the thoughts we don't want with the ones we do. It's a practice, a skill. And science helps. Knowledge helps. The more you understand the why behind your thoughts, the easier it becomes to shift them. Why did this happen to me? Why like this? When we start answering those questions with knowledge, our mind becomes clearer. We take back control. Now imagine learning not just one insight, but hundreds of tools and ideas like this. Each one gives you power. Each one makes you less afraid of bad things, less stuck in painful memories, and more in control of your life. That's the value of knowledge. That's why it's powerful. It helps you understand the real issue. It helps you accept what's truly going on. And then you can begin to heal. So what's the first step to changing your mood in your life? Control your thoughts. And how do you know whether a thought is worth having? Ask yourself, do I want what I'm thinking about or not? If the answer is no, then don't think about it. If there's a problem and you don't want that problem, don't waste your time dwelling on it. Instead, treat it as a challenge, something to solve. For example, imagine I walk outside and see that my car has a flat tire. I'll acknowledge it and think, all right, the tire's flat. But here's the thing. I'm not saying you should close your eyes and pretend, no. Ali says, don't think about what you don't want. That's not what I mean. It's not about being naive or childish. If I see that my car's tire is flat, the first thing I need to do is figure out how to fix it so I can get back on the road. But sometimes we go down the wrong path. We start thinking, oh, of course, everything always goes wrong. Today, of all days, when I have an important meeting, my tire's flat and there's barely any gas in the tank. This kind of thinking does nothing but fuel frustration. It doesn't solve the problem. When you realize your tire is flat, accept it. It doesn't matter who or what caused it. What matters is it's flat. So now what do? The solution is simple. Find a way to fix it. Maybe you call someone to help or get a taxi. The point is focus on the solution, not the problem. This is what I mean by solution-focused thinking. Yeah, when you focus on the solution, you move forward. Now, there are some things that have no immediate solution. For instance, 2 years ago, someone betrayed me, and yesterday someone betrayed me again. It's easy to get caught up in thinking, what should I do to avoid being betrayed in the future? How can I stop others from stealing from me or causing harm? But here's the truth. Thinking about what you don't want doesn't help. It doesn't solve anything. So let me remind you of the formula. Controlling your thoughts means thinking about what you want and not dwelling on what you don't. You might say, Ali, sometimes I'm not sure if the thoughts I'm having are ones I want or don't want. That's when you need to listen to your feelings, your inner compass. Your intuition will guide you toward what you should focus on. If a thought makes you feel good, that's fine. As long as you don't misuse it. Yes, smoking, drinking, or staying in unhealthy relationships might give you temporary pleasure, but deep down, you know it's not true happiness. It's fleeting. It's not sustainable. In the end, you're left with regret. But when you focus on things like your health, your education, or the positive aspects of your life, that's where true fulfillment lies. Those thoughts nurture you. You want thoughts about your well being, a safe home, a reliable car, great relationships, fulfilling work, and peace of mind. These are the thoughts that nourish your soul. But when you focus on illness or poverty, those thoughts drain you. Now, if you can do something to change your situation, think about it in a way that motivates you to act. If you're just sitting there thinking, oh, well, this is how society is, that doesn't help anyone. Saying this is how society is 1,000 times doesn't change anything. What have you done for society? What can you do? Yes, sometimes sharing an issue or raising awareness is important. For example, talking about a poor family so others can help. That's positive. But let's stay focused. Don't keep dwelling on what you don't want. Instead, focus on what you do want. This is what controlling your thoughts is all about. Now, let me address a question some of you have. You might say, Ali, I know thinking about betrayal, failure, financial problems, or my difficult situation isn't helping me. I know those thoughts don't serve me, but they keep coming and I feel overwhelmed. How can I escape them? How do I stop these thoughts from taking over? Let me give you an example, and then I'll show you how to escape this mental chaos. Imagine someone is standing on top of a mountain or a high ledge. Suddenly they slip and start sliding down the slope. At first, their speed is slow. If they grab onto a branch or a rock, they can stop right there. But if they keep sliding and gain speed without grabbing anything, it becomes harder to stop. Even if they try to hold on later, they'll just drag it with them. At that point, gravity takes over. It's like a snowball rolling downhill, small and manageable at first, but if you let it grow, it becomes an avalanche, and there's no stopping it. Our thoughts work the same way. At first, you're not even aware of them. It's like reading a book and suddenly realizing your mind has wandered. But the moment you catch yourself thinking about an argument or stressing over something, that's your chance. From that moment, you have a few seconds where you can still take control. That's when you can grab the branch and stop the slide. You have about 3 to 4 seconds to shift your focus before the thought gains momentum and starts controlling you. After that, it becomes much harder to manage. So when you ask, Ali, these thoughts overwhelm me, I want to tell you those thoughts are weak in the beginning. In the first few seconds, you have the power to escape them, but after 5 seconds, their strength grows and they become harder to resist. Let's say a sexual thought comes to you and you know you don't want to entertain it. Those first 3 or 4 seconds are your opportunity to shift. The same applies to thoughts of poverty, illness, betrayal, unemployment, loneliness, anything painful or destructive. If you catch it early, you can push it away and replace it with something better. But if you don't act quickly, the thought takes hold. Listen closely. You need to remember this lesson well. When those thoughts attack, you only have a few precious seconds to act. You can't leave your mind empty. You must replace that thought immediately. Whether it's an affirmation, a prayer, or something simple and positive, you must insert it right away. This principle applies in many areas of life. For example, when you set your alarm for 5 a.m. and it rings, you have the power to get up. But if you say, I'll just close my eyes for a minute, you fall back asleep. That 1 minute becomes 2 hours. But if you get up immediately and say, Bismillah, I'm up, sleep will not overpower you. Thoughts are the same. So yes, I understand how overwhelming they feel. But the solution is simple. When those unwanted thoughts show up, act within the first few seconds. Replace the thought right away. Poverty, heartbreak, failure, whatever it is. You have the power to shift focus. If you find yourself getting angry, replaying a fight with someone, your father, mother, spouse, or friend, remember, you have just a few seconds to stop the slide. Change the thought. Say an affirmation, say a prayer, do something, write this down. Ali says that if you control your thoughts, your life will change. I guarantee it. This is powerful. Don't underestimate it. Take practical steps in life. Focus on your work, your relationships. Those things matter. But until you learn to control your thoughts, chaos will remain. Once you do, your energy consolidates. The noise in your life starts to fade. When you control your thoughts, you control your feelings. My feelings come from my thoughts. If I describe a green tomato, freshly washed, sprinkled with salt, some of you will start to salivate. Or if I mention a juicy red fruit leather, you can almost taste it. That's the power of a single thought. It creates a physical reaction in your body. So how could you possibly spend your whole life thinking about pain, poverty, betrayal, or failure and not expect your life to be affected? Or have you ever seen someone on their birthday surrounded by people who are happy, yet they feel sad? Why does that happen? It's supposed to be a joyful moment, but something inside them pulls them into sadness. Before I started feeling better, I experienced this for many years. I've said this often in my classes. I didn't feel good, especially during holidays or on my birthday. I'd think, here we go again. Another birthday, another year gone, and nothing has changed. In fact, some things have gotten worse. The new year came, but nothing happened. So when will things actually get better? Those thoughts used to ruin the days that were meant to make me happy. But here's the truth. Your thoughts are far more important than you think. Write this down. Ali guarantees that if you control your thoughts, if you change your thoughts, your life will change. So what does it mean to control your thoughts? And it means replacing the thoughts you don't want with the ones you do want. This single shift can transform your entire life. When you control your thoughts, you free yourself from urges, from resentment, from hate, and from feelings of failure. You open new doors in your mind. New ideas come for your job, your education, your health. You attract new people, new paths, and new opportunities. That's how powerful this is. And I keep repeating it because it's that important. This is what I began doing in my own life. And to this day, it's still what I do. If someone asked me, Ali, where did it all start for you? I would say this. It started the day I began to control my thoughts. Now, let's be real. Some thoughts feel good, like the thought of revenge. Maybe someone hurt you. Maybe they took what was yours. And in your mind, you imagine getting back at them, taking them to court, punishing them, or even hoping God punishes them. These thoughts might feel satisfying. They feed something inside you. But what are they feeding? They feed the wolf, not the angel. They don't nourish the kind, powerful, positive part of you. So if you're wondering where to begin, don't say, I can't. I've already given you the starting point. The first step all of us can take is to control our thoughts. This is your arrow. It begins right now. Decide and stick to that decision. Write this down. I promise myself that I will control my thoughts and I will not break this promise. Okay? Yes, it will be hard at first, just like starting a new workout, just like learning a new language or playing an instrument or starting a new job. It's tough in the beginning, but it gets easier, just like anything else worth doing. And what's the beautiful part? Listen closely. What is heaven? Heaven, as God has designed it, is built into the formula of life. It means that when you walk the right path, the universe moves with you. The clouds, the wind, the sun, the stars, everything starts aligning to support you, so you can live, grow, and not fall into despair. That's real support. That's the system working in your favor. What's the flow of life? The flow of life is doing what is right, and one of the greatest forms of righteousness is patience. Patience is like the head to the body, essential and guiding. And controlling your thoughts is part of that same flow. It's where it all begins, and it requires nothing but your decision. That's real justice. Justice doesn't mean everyone gets the same house or the same job or the same car. True justice means everyone has the chance, the tools, to build a good life. It means access, not sameness. And the most powerful tool you already have is your ability to control your thoughts. If God exists, if there's an intelligent system running this world, then it means we didn't end up here by chance. We were brought into this life with purpose. And if that's the case, then that same intelligent system has equipped all of us equally with the tools to change our lives. What's left is whether you and I choose to use them. One of the most powerful tools we have is willpower. Now, I won't go too deep into that right now. Willpower deserves its own podcast. But let me ask you something. Why is it that everything that tastes good seems to harm us? Why is it that the most pleasurable things are often labeled as sinful or forbidden? That's a whole other topic in itself, but again, it ties back to willpower. We all want chocolate, pastries, creamy pasta, savory dumplings, fruit pies. Who voluntarily chooses bland, unseasoned meals? Our natural desire pulls us toward things that are rich, sweet, and indulgent. And that's exactly where willpower comes in. There are hundreds of other related topics I cover in class, but let's set those aside for now. I'm offering you this essential insight. Take this jewel and use it in your daily life. The key is simple yet powerful. Just learn to control your mind. This practice alone can transform how you experience everything. The master of speech once shared this truth. For years, my heart longed for the gem-filled cup, but what I had in hand I begged for from strangers. This profound quote shows us how often we search elsewhere for treasures we already possess. You already have the power to shift your mindset. You don't need to look elsewhere. You just need to take the first step. Start controlling your mind and watch how your life begins to change. So when does controlling your mind get easier? It gets easier when your mind isn't being constantly triggered by the things you're trying to avoid. Let's say you're starting a diet. If someone places a hot, juicy kebab in front of you, it's hard to resist. If they serve you a rich slice of New York cheesecake, it's hard to say no. But if those things aren't around, resisting becomes a lot easier. That's why many find it helpful to create environments that support their goals. For example, in some communities during Ramadan, food places or eateries might close during fasting hours. The principle is universal. Fewer temptations, fewer triggers. This approach helps people maintain their commitments by changing what's available around them. You can't expect to control your mind when you're constantly surrounded by things that stimulate it in the wrong direction. If your friend keeps complaining about poverty, illness, disasters, and negativity, you can't sit there and expect to stay calm, centered, and positive. It doesn't work like that. Controlling your mind gets easier when you limit what it's exposed to. Don't read everything. Don't watch every movie. Don't listen to every random conversation. Because if you do, you'll be feeding your mind with things that make it harder to stay in control. You can't stick to a diet while sitting at a buffet. So when people talk about controlling your mental inputs, they mean exactly this. You may have heard this from great thinkers and mentors. Your inputs shape your thoughts. To take control of your mind, you must also take control of what enters it. Now, if you're someone who looks at this from a spiritual or religious lens, maybe religious explanations speak more clearly to you, then let me offer you this perspective. In the Quran, when it talks about taqwa, often translated as piety, what is it really saying? Taqwa means self-control, it means restraint, it means deliberate avoidance. It's not just about performing prayers or fasting. We pray and fast to achieve taqwa, to build our self-control. It's like exercise. Its purpose isn't just exercise for the sake of it, but for health. Sure, exercise brings pleasure, but its core function is to protect and improve your health. In the same way, prayer isn't just for the sake of praying, it's for cultivating control so that we can develop taqwa. If we pray and fast but still lie, hurt others, or steal, that's not true piety. Real piety is about controlling your thoughts, your eyes, your ears, your heart. That's where true taqwa lives. When the Quran says, whoever practices taqwa will find a way out, it means that whoever practices self-control, whoever takes charge of their own actions, will find a way out of difficulty. And when you live that way, God provides for you from places you never imagined. Ideas will come to you, people will show up, opportunities will unfold that you didn't see coming. But it starts with control, and this isn't just for the religious or the spiritual. It's for anyone who truly wants change. Taqwa is about avoiding what harms you, not just in your actions, but in your thoughts and behavior. If we want to change our lives, we need to begin by changing our minds. If you want the world around you to shift, you have to shift your perspective. Want a better life? Start by controlling your thoughts. Want healthier relationships, a better job, or improved well-being? It starts in your mind. Avoid thoughts you shouldn't dwell on. Avoid sights and sounds that pull you away from who you want to become. Focus instead on what you do want, on the life you do want to live. Set aside distractions and take control of your mind, because once you do that, everything else will follow. Change your thoughts, and your life will change. Change your thoughts, and your body, your job, your relationships, your financial situation, everything begins to shift. Your whole world transforms. The solution you seek doesn't require anything from the outside. Your mind is already equipped with infinite power. That's the real battleground. In your mind, you can do anything. You can destroy the world in your thoughts, even if you wouldn't hurt a fly in real life. In your mind, you can be rich, powerful, fearless. You can have the relationships, the success, the control that may not seem possible in the real world. But in your mind, it's limitless. You can curse everyone, bless everyone, conquer everything, fall in love, lose everything, and gain it all back. Within a moment, just in your mind, you can do 1,000 wrongs there. That's why the real game, the one that matters, is being played in your thoughts. When people say, work on yourself, it starts here. It starts with your inner dialogue. Your mind is the real playing field. You can't become a professional athlete at 48. Maybe your body can't take it. Maybe other people have connections, money, family support, things you don't have. So you ask, God, where is my field? And the answer is your playing field is in your mind. That's where your infinite potential lies. At first, it might feel unfamiliar. You might doubt it. But once you decide, truly decide, to master your mind, you enter a field of unlimited possibilities. At that point, it won't matter whose dad owns what or who has connections where. You'll stop comparing yourself to others because you'll realize my power lives in my mind. Now look at the people you admire. Football players, artists, musicians. You see them train, rehearse, fail, win. They give everything they've got. They practice day after day. The conductor stops the orchestra and says, no, faster here, slower there. They repeat. They refine. A painter works on a single stroke for hours. A filmmaker shoots the same scene over and over until it's right. And you're the artist of your life. Your mind is your canvas. Train there, practice there, play your best game there. And in that mental field, your field, give it your everything. Now that you know the power that lies within you, it's time to take the next step. Keep tuning into these podcasts because the journey to mastering your mind and transforming your life has only just begun. Every episode will bring you closer to unlocking your fullest potential. Stay with me, and together we'll continue this powerful journey. See you in the next episode.